Hello and welcome to my channel, Love Being Brown. On this channel, I showcase myself traveling informative reality style. I also help you with the preparation process, choosing the ideal location, accommodation, and transportation for your needs while maintaining a budget. Today's video is a video response to Move Abroad and Thrive's video entitled Stop Overthinking, What to Do When You're Scared or Uncertain. In that video, Mr. Cortez was answering an email question from someone who wanted to know advice for people who want to move, but they're scared due to the things they've heard. And his general video was that most people fear or have fear due to the lack of clarity, knowledge, or information on moving. And he gave multiple points, which are really good. I really respect him. I think that he's a wonderful YouTuber who gives out lots of advice. So I just really wanted to add in some more information for people who may be in my situation. I am coming from an educational background. I was a teacher before I started traveling. I have a teenage daughter who's currently traveling with me in Mexico. So I wanted to talk about stop overthinking, what to do when you're scared or uncertain. So in the video, he talks about income, and that being one of the main things that people are scared of. Well, the main thing you want to think about is how are you going to receive some type of revenue, right? Because we all have to have money to move, to live, to eat, things like that. So the first thing you want to know and have an answer to is how are you going to make money? Are you going to make money? Are you retired? Maybe you have savings and so you're going to live off that for a while. Maybe you don't want to move, completely for a long time. Maybe you just want to travel, because going abroad can be different things. You could travel for a few months or you could travel for a couple of years. Some people move, for 5 to 10 years and then they go back to America. So the first thing is, how are you going to support yourself? And if you have kids, like I have a child, how are you going to support your child? Because not only do you have to budget for yourself, but now you have to budget for another person's mouth, clothes, if you want to do trips and things like that, and especially if you want to go back home for holidays and things like that to America. Also, you have to think about how much does it cost to move? What is your startup? For instance, Move Around and Thrive currently is living in Merida, so he is stationary, whereas I am traveling through Mexico. So I have to budget for transportation, accommodation, miscellaneous things like if my daughter needs some clothes, health insurance, things like that. And it costs more when you're going from place to place. So I have a monthly budget that I put in certain parameters before I left America, and I made my spreadsheet according to what I thought would work for me. Now, of course, you need to have a really good window because in my mind, $2,000 was going to do it. Currently, we are doing about $2,500 a month, and that's because we move every 4 to 12 days to see different cities of Mexico. So you're going to have to take that into account. It costs money to fly. It costs money to ride in a taxi. It costs money to get on the ADO bus. So you have to think about that. Leave a large gap because one month you may only spend $1,000, but another month you may spend $3,000. So you want to budget that in according to how many or how long you're going to stay in your current location. I budgeted for me being able to travel full time for about 2 years. So I'm okay to be able to do that for about 2 years. Budget. Okay, so now we're going into budgeting. You need to be able to budget your food costs because that is typically your largest cost. Are you the type of person who can really eat street food? We know that street food is more affordable, especially in Mexico or Asia and things like that. Do you eat street food where you are? Okay, think about that. Because if you're the type of person who has OCD, who's a germaphobe, you are not going to go out and eat street food every day. Better yet, you're going to I look to see where the people are eating at, then I watch that person for a little while, and then, I may go ahead and eat the street food. But typically, we eat in restaurants, which means where other people can be spending $5 a day, we're spending about $30. So that is your big expense. Do you want to buy groceries? Do you have the means to buy groceries? We're moving from hotel to hostel to, Airbnb, and some places do not have refrigerators. Some places do not have microwaves. Well, you got to take account of that, because if you don't have those things, then you are going to have a much larger budget for your food than other people. For instance, I carry my Ataki pot everywhere I go. When we went to Vietnam, I had my Ataki pot. Now in Mexico, I have my Ataki pot. So I can actually go and buy ground beef to cook. I can go and buy steak or chicken, rice, vegetables to cook in my pot. So do you need to buy that and bring that with you? I knew I needed it, so I brought it with me, because that is my way of preparing food in places that I do not know about. Transportation. How are you going to get around? Are you the type of person who wants to always use a airplane? We have 4 suitcases. No, I'm sorry. We have 3 suitcases, a book bag, a bag of food. We have a lot of stuff. So every time I was looking at trying to take the airplane from one place to the next, it was going to cost me about $200 a person. I'm on a budget. I am not going to fly just to see a new city. So we ride the bus. The bus is about a third of the cost. It cost me between $50 to $100 for us to get to a new city on the bus. They're not charging me for my bags. So, how do you want to travel? Can you do the bus? Can you do Uber? Is there Uber in your area? Is there a Dai? Is there, whatever that means of local transportation, a bus, a local bus that goes from one point to the next. You need to get there and figure out, is that what you're going to do? Because that's going to have to go into your budget. Also, accommodations. This is my first, right now, currently, I am staying in a hostel. This is my first time ever in a hostel. It was the cheapest option in the area that I am currently in. We got a private room in this hostel. It's perfectly fine. I love it here. The people are super nice. But can you do that? Can you stay, in a hotel or a hostel? Or do you want an expensive Airbnb or, whatever the situation is? You need to regulate your expectations and think about where are you going and how can you realistically live there for even a month, 6 months, a year. You have to think about, what can I deal with? What can I handle? Miscellaneous, that's clothing. If your clothing get destroyed, messed up, or lost, hey, you're riding around, right? Or maybe the airport lost your bags. You may have to buy new clothes. Insurance, if you get sick, maybe you need insurance. Some people, healthcare is so affordable that they don't need insurance. So you have to think about that as well. Let's see, other miscellaneous things. Maybe I had an ear infection. I had to go to the doctors. And I paid for that. I had to pay for my medicine, and I had to pay for the doctors. Even though we have insurance, it was cheaper for me to just pay the $2.50 USD to see the doctor. But then I had to turn around and go pay about $15 for my medicine. So those are things that you have to add into your budget. If you have a young child who gets hurt a lot, you may have to add that into your budget. Then location. What kind of location do you want to stay in? Okay. Hot, cold. What country? Where do you want to visit? Where do you want to live? These are the kind of things you have to think about when you're thinking about moving and finding clarity. For instance, we're in Mexico. We started in a hot area where it was too hot. If you get somewhere, can you afford to be able to move out of that area if you don't like it there? Then we went somewhere that was too cold for me. My daughter loved it. She had her fall clothes. She was ready because that is what we would be used to in Georgia. I don't want to be cold. I didn't come to Mexico to be cold. So, I was ready to get out of that situation. Even now, currently, I have on long sleeves, but, they're not completely long where we were before, where we had to wear complete jackets. So think about the weather. Think about the distance from your family. We moved to Vietnam. We were extremely far from my family. If something were to happen, it would take us 25 to 30 hours to get back. Now we're in Mexico. It would only take us about 4 hours on a flight to get home if something were to happen. Then think about the economy. What is going on in that area? Are the people protesting against their government? Is the government respecting its people? Is there some type of freedom of speech? Because we have those American ideas of how our life should be. Am I going to be scared? What is the crime level? I'm in Mexico. I have not been scared once. And there's fireworks going off every night that I'm kind of like, ooh, ooh, ooh. But they're fireworks. I'm not scared. I'm here with my daughter. She's not scared. So safety, that goes into your location. And then lastly, your fallback plan. What happens if the country you go to you do not like? We went to Vietnam. We were there for a month and got up out of there. But we had the money to do so. So if you're moving or you're traveling on a tight budget, okay, what is your contingency plan if you sell everything? I sold my house. I sold my car. I sold everything. If it all falls apart, I can go back home with my mom for a little bit. If it falls apart, I can go home with my sister for a little bit. I have savings. I can go home and be able to rent an apartment for a good year before I even have to worry about work. So you have to think about that as well. What is your contingency plan? So get clarity on these 4 things. Income. Or do you have savings? Budget. Know how much you're going to be spending every month. Location. Where do you want to be? And lastly, your fallback plan. If it all falls apart tomorrow, what are you going to do? Okay. Well, thanks for coming to our channel, Love Being Browne. I enjoyed having you guys. Come check out some of our other videos. We're busting it through Mexico, and I'm sure that you'll have fun watching us. Remember, it's an informative reality show, so we may say or do something that could be off the wall. That's okay. Come back now, y'all. You hear?